everyone, really, really, really good news, monumental news. My whole life, I've been trying to not just understand mankind, but like really, I was thinking about every day, but I was wondering why, you know? But the biggest thing for me is how I shifted my brain, because I felt my brain shift and I intentionally did it. But how I did it wasn't a thought. It wasn't trying to let something go. It wasn't trying to change it or think of something else to make me happy, or a physical outside thing to make me happy. So the brain itself, we are a feeling, right? In that one reversed video, it said that, and I said feeling is seeing. I've already known that. It made complete sense to me, and I known that before that. I known all this intellectual thing, but to put the knowledge to the test, the thing is my brain, it's totally clear. My crown and everything is totally clear. I don't have that. You know why? Is what I did is that I look inside of myself. How I did it was, I already kind of explained how I did it, but inside your brain, I want you to feel this. You got to feel your brain when it's in that tension of what's not right. Because obviously, when everybody's experiencing that of which is not right, they cause tension in their brain, right? And the ideal fact of what I did it was like, you know, when your brains are in them other states, we can all do this. But it was such a quick realization, and it wasn't the letting go. See, that's why I couldn't do it. You didn't have to let anything go of the truth, right? And it was during the night I noticed this, and my brain, how it shifted was that I intentionally kind of like realized that, right? Once you realize that, it's not like you're trying to give into that feeling, right? And the times where it's not as bad maybe, and you can actually process, your emotions fully in a way where you're not going to be totally in the good when you do it. Because when you're in the good, you don't realize when you're in that bad. And when you're in that bad, you can never do the good, right? And it was in that realization that when I was in that state, it wasn't the outside of letting go or anything like that outside. It was in here. Just in here. It was really simple. But the way I did it, okay, it clicks in your mind. It happens so fast, and when you almost realize it, your brain almost automatically does it. In a way, I'll try to trigger it for you in this video at the end, but I want to explain kind of in depth about how I did it. So there is this. See, I just learned this, so just give me a little bit of time. I have to make sure this is right, because I want you to be right, That's what it is. If you're wanting it and willing it to be right, and then all of a sudden, because that you just did it inside your mind, right? And it's not like making a huge shift. It is so subtle that you hardly almost even notice it. But then you feel all the tension in your head completely gone. You feel weightless inside your head, but with all the knowledge. So every time that, say, things get easier for you and stuff like this, you're progressing towards that inside your own function of your mind on them degrees of which you want to reside in, of your natural function, right? It's just this world and its circumstance which causes other functions. Like I said before, all this shit's adding up, but hey, so my brain, it literally was the realization. And it's not so, I knew it was an internal job and stuff like this, and that thought pattern I carried from when I was little, and it wasn't wasn't just that, I still have that. I can still use that. I still understand everything up until that point of what I had in my reality, right? So once you realize you have that, of that good, right? And it's not like I'm going to say this is a guarantee for you. And you can't guarantee yourself. It happens when you will, like, realize it in a way. Hopefully after this video, you'll realize it because of the fact of, it is just so clear, you know? It's so right. And because I was in a relatively good state, but I was thinking about again, about that, and maybe the weight was lifted off of me from God, I don't know. But I'm just saying, because maybe that was the final thing that needed to be done. Oh, my ear just popped right here. Whoa. Huh. And no ringing or anything, it just popped and then kind of like spaciness came. Which, I'm not dizzy or anything, right? It was just that little experience. So, what I'm trying to say to you is that every time I speak these words that have meaning, it doesn't affect me. Like the words don't affect me anymore. You go above the words. See, you go above the words into everything of the feeling. You immerse the feeling so the words can't screw it up, because what they did with the words, they twisted the words around. So what does that do? All the words that were supposed to be right for you were wrong for you. Then what did it do to you? Because that you were thinking about it all wrong, about a word in general, to base the basis on life that it had in its reality, right? But that was an experience because of what can happen inside of the function in itself. But that, when that shift happens, it's almost like I can never go back to it. It's like this new thing, and I have complete control over it. You have complete control over your mind. Sometimes, when you go through things, and that's where your full will comes into play. Believe it or not, I'm not too sure if all the chakras had to play in it about my evolution, about what was happening. But ultimately, the fact of which I experienced. Do you know what I mean? It was so clear. My brain got clear, light, and there was nothing that was holding me back. And I guarantee, because I was talking to Bushy, because my dad was going to pick me up, and I just went over there around 9 o'clock after I tried to go back to the library to post that, but I realized I had to delete some videos. Plus, I was a little bit tired, but I realized when I was trying to go to bed or sleep, I would get these like voltages. It wasn't a twitch either. It was like me pulling myself out of my body, like halfway, and I like jumped with it. And it wasn't really a shocking experience. You know, sometimes when you wake up and you get that twitch, you're shocked. But I wasn't even shocked from it. But, see, that is the power, too, of staying up. It does do certain aspects, too. I wasn't saying it was because of that. That was before it was even 10 o'clock at night, right, that I did that. So right now, though, I'm in a state which is real in my reality of what happened, right? But it didn't really change who I am. It doesn't really change. The effect of my experience has an effect, right? And on my energy level, maybe. But my energy level is great. And somehow or another, you know, when I feel tired, I will want to rest. I will want to, because I really want to rest up to be my full function of myself for you guys. And right now I am. I'm transcending the belief structure quite literally inside my brain. So my brain is not befoozled by it, because your heart sends messages to your brain. Brain sends messages to your heart. When I link my heart and my mind, it was taking care of itself. Things were easier. Things got easier for you when you did that too. And when it gets to the stage where your brain is at ease with it, and also that your crown chakra has a lot to do with the brain too, but also maybe I said enough. Maybe I covered it all. I'll just be going over other things. See, I don't want to repeat things either because it's already in a video, and I got all this life to experience more, grow myself more, to show you more every day. I'm pretty sure after this video, I'll have more experiences to think about, ponder about, to grow from. And I can still see that the world needs to be fixed, right? But I'm like totally beyond that pain that it was trying to cause me. Because I realized the whole time of what I was doing is because I was putting the weight on me. And it wasn't necessarily that. It's like my brain recognized it. In a way, I think it transmuted what that was. Because obviously, if it doesn't exist in my brain function from here of when I had an experience until now, that is a good representation. And in the future, who knows if I'll get angry, who knows if what will happen. All I'm saying is that was a really great experience that many people can change their lives from. And I wanted to tell you that because them are my experiences that I've actually changed from, quite literally overnight. But I didn't sleep last night, and the energy was high. I actually videotaped the moon and everything, and I made that podcast because of the, what startled me. Otherwise, I probably would got some sleep last night. But I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad it worked out the way it did. In a way, that podcast made me feel so great about telling it truly like it is in a way, so they can realize that just talking about it can only go so far. And that's why when the time comes, I will do it. I will no longer talk about what I'm going to do because it's just better off just to do it. But, I laid the foundation for what I'm going to do so people know. Because the whole point of that was to get more people into the society. So if I do get more followers, right, more people will be aware of me, of what I'm doing. Then get that out there to be aware of what the world's doing, right? Then when that comes full circle, and when I do buy that land, I do want to talk only $1,000, $2,000. I would invest that and get a part-time job in Kentucky. Maybe grow that. And when the time comes where people really feel like this change needs to happen, you can all come in. You're all free to come. No matter whether you're fully enlightened or not. And the more we're all for that in their intention, the people that do come there will want something different out of it. They'll start creating something different out of it. Living in their different way outside of that system that tries to limit that joy and freedom in their reality, because our joy and freedom needs to be abundant every day. It can't be limited, or you're not in the full function of what you can unlock inside your mind. And remember, it's not about other people. It is, but when you realize other people, all right, and how I thought about certain things, I could see the good, I could see almost everything, right? I was realizing all that inside my mind, and that's a big crucial step, because I can't just say, flick a switch and it'll happen. It's quite literally the feeling inside your brain you got to get familiar with. But now that I realize that, before I didn't, and before that little experience happened, now I can tell you to do that with your brain, to observe that with your brain. To only observe from the brain, but don't think of the brain as that word. Get the words away, get for the actual meaning which it has. That's where the truth lies in everything. And we project that truth of which we see, of which we're more aware of. That's what everybody's doing. I am so happy right now. I just explained it to you guys. I love you, everybody. And Brittany, I do love you so much. And I always will. Even if we're never in a relationship, okay? Because I really know what true love is. And I'm happy. And I know that there's supernatural things that happen. And I don't doubt all the supernatural things that I got access. And I heard like voices too. Like spiritually. And it all clicked. And I already told you about that, didn't I? But more things are clicking. And that's good. The one aspect mankind needed to realize is which I was holding until I released that. I get more information. That's how the cause and effect happens. Now I cause and affect you with this information. Because I believe it'll help. And even if you don't believe it to be 100% true, realize there is a percent of truth in it that can help because it helped for me. Good job, everybody.